From today, this is my house. Do as you please, Tom said, looking at me triumphantly. A sly smile crept across his face as he spread his arms wide, joyfully scanning the spacious room as if he were dancing. The house we're in now is my family home. My father was a wealthy man and had a passion for this home like no other. This house, the crystallization of his zeal, is worth a whopping $200 million. My father lovingly built this house and left it to me just before he passed away recently. Now, my husband insists that this house, which I inherited, is his. Does my husband think he can make my inherited estate his own? Although I explained that the inherited estate is my property and he has no rights to it, he only smirked with satisfaction. I'm not lying. Have proof if you need it, my husband said. The evidence that my husband showed me confirmed my name is Emily, and I am 38 years old this year. I work online at an internet bank, learning about the importance and risks of money. Learning from my parents about the importance and usage of money was one of the reasons I chose this job. My parents were professionals in asset management, and I grew up in what is typically considered a wealthy family. From an early age, my parents strictly taught me about the importance and usage of money. Money is a crucial asset that enriches our lives, and protecting that asset is a responsibility for each and every one of us. These words, which I had heard so much from my father that they could become tiresome, resurfaced in my mind. Even though there were assets in our family, my parents didn't unconditionally give me everything I wanted. They seemed to strive to have us live a modest life. My allowance was slightly less than my peers, and dining at high-end restaurants was a rare occasion. During my childhood, I attended a local public elementary school instead of a costly private one because we lived nearby. Rumors about my large house and my family's wealth spread quickly due to our affluent home and my parents' extensive social circle. Emily, your house is big, isn't it? Are you rich? That must be nice. Getting anything you want, right? Of course, you have the latest games too, right? Can we all come over to play sometime? The truth was, I didn't get everything I wished for, and I didn't even have expensive toys, let alone the latest game console. But such rumors were common. Honestly, I didn't enjoy these rumors because I thought I was living a normal life, just like everyone else. Emily, your family is rich, right? So can you lend me some money? Actually, I accidentally broke Karen's game console, and I have to compensate her. I don't have any money right now, I replied to Catherine. Catherine and I had just become classmates in the 5th grade. Didn't you tell your parents? I can't. I'm afraid they'll scold me, Catherine pleaded. That's why I'm asking you, Emily, Catherine insisted. I was worried that if I refused, it might make school life awkward from tomorrow on. However, I was prohibited from lending money by my parents. I'm sorry, Catherine. I don't have any money right now, I said. When I refused, Catherine left with tears in her eyes. You turned down Catherine's request, didn't you? You're rich, aren't you? Then lend some money to your friend, Catherine. She seems to be out of money now, Karen said, listening to our conversation. I wonder why I was being involved in this even though I had nothing to do with it. I thought to myself. However, I continued to explain that I couldn't lend money because I didn't have any. For a while, Karen responded, I get it. Money is more important to you than your friend, Catherine, huh? It's just worse to abandon a friend. There's no way you don't have money being from a rich family. Why do you lie? You're just the worst. Leaving those words behind, Karen walked away. That day's event sparked malicious rumors about me to start spreading. Karen and Catherine started spreading baseless lies to others, such as that I had kept money from the two of them and hadn't compensated for the broken game console, and so forth. The teachers who caught wind of the rumors quickly grasped the truth and severely warned the two girls. However, that ended up exacerbating the situation. The malicious rumors from the two girls escalated day by day, spreading throughout the school, and eventually reached my parents' ears, prompting my father to visit the elementary school. Eventually, a meeting between parents took place, and the situation started moving towards resolution. Since hearing their insincere apologies, I have kept my distance from the two of them. They, on their part, occasionally glance and sneer at me but don't talk to me directly. At dinner that day, with a smile, my father advised me as follows. Listen, Emily. Say no firmly because lending money is forbidden by your parents. You don't have to say whether you have money or not. If the other party insists, just say you'll ask your parents. Even though it's forbidden, I've had enough of troublesome matters related to money. And nodded deeply to my father's words, keeping that in my heart. Thereafter, I refrained from bringing up money myself. After graduating from elementary school, I reduced opportunities to invite friends to my house as much as possible and tried to focus on internal qualities in my relationships. After graduating from university and becoming a working adult, I paid careful attention to avoiding the risk of monetary trouble, focusing on my work and investing all my energy without letting others intrude into my personal life. When I was 28, I met Tom, who is now my husband, through the introduction of one of my few friends. Tom, 1 year younger than me at 27, had an honest personality and spoke about anything openly from our first meeting. Though he looked about 5 years younger than his age, I was drawn to Tom's straightforward and cheerful personality. After 2 years of dating, we got married, and the wedding was celebrated lively with many people, including family and friends. My parents, who had been eager for me to marry even after I turned 25 without any romantic experience, were genuinely happy when my marriage to Tom was decided. They provided funds and suggested we have a grand celebration. Tom agreed, saying it's a once-in-a-lifetime stage, so let's enjoy it to the fullest. We decided to have a glamorous wedding, inviting many family members and friends. About a month after the wedding, my father suggested, "Isn't it a good time to invite Tom to our house?" Although I trusted Tom, considering the trauma from my elementary school days, I was worried that his talkative nature might lead him to share details about my family with others, potentially causing issues. Having been married for a month, I resolved to disclose everything I had hidden thus far about my family and invited Tom to my parents' house. When Tom arrived at my family's house, he stopped in his tracks, oddly astonished, and remained open-mouthed, immobilized by the eye-opening encounter. "Emily's family is so wealthy," he remarked after the meal and on the way home. Tom was engrossed in asking about my wealth and assets, continually bringing up the topic of money. I told him I didn't know much about the financial situation at home, but I felt uneasy inside. A few months later, I received a call from my mother. "Your father is going to be hospitalized soon." I was lost for words, completely taken aback. "Actually, your father hasn't been feeling well lately. He's getting hospitalized for a thorough examination. Did you notice he didn't eat much when you brought Tom over?" Reflecting back, I remembered that my father did not eat much that day and seemed somewhat emaciated. "So I have a favor to ask, Emily. The detailed examination results will be out this weekend. Can you be there with us?" "Of course, Mom. I'll be there, so don't worry." I was profoundly concerned about my father. On Saturday, I went to the hospital with my mother. My father seemed cheerful. Somehow, he looked frail when I spoke to him. My father greeted me with a gentle smile and said, "Emily, I'm sorry for making you worry. I guess I'm getting old." After some time, I was informed about my father's medical condition by the doctor. It was found that he had cancer in the pancreas, and it was at stage 4. Furthermore, the cancer had already spread throughout his body, making surgery difficult. I was at a loss for words, and my mother was in tears. Why? He always took care of his health, she lamented. My father silently listened to the doctor's explanation. The pancreas is hidden behind other organs, making it difficult to detect early. Often, by the time it's detected, surgery is difficult and the cancer is hard to cure. Upon returning to the room, my father spoke with a determined expression. I'm sorry. I want the two of you to live happily from now on. We couldn't stop our tears upon hearing his words of resolve. From that point on, I made it a point to spend as much time as possible with him. Due to the prevailing situation, visits were restricted to family, and he missed spending time with his friends. It seemed he longed for various people to visit our family home. Emily, even after I'm gone, please cherish that home. I'll be happy if you invite friends and family, creating memories together. My father entrusted me with these wishes. I pondered how to fulfill his desires. Wanting to cherish his wish, I came up with an idea and quickly searched for a renovation contractor to make it a reality. Tom was concerned about me as I would always visit my father on my days off. In reality, due to an issue with our family home, I didn't trust Tom with information about my inheritance. By the way, Emily, how's your father's health? To be honest, it's not great. That must be hard on you. Do you want me to help in any way? His comforting words warmed my heart. My busy days juggling work and hospital visits exhausted me mentally and physically, but his next words chilled my heart. As your husband, I'd like to know in detail about my father-in-law's financial situation. The property is managed by my father, and if anything happens to him, my mother will take over. So, there's nothing I need to discuss with you. But money is important. Consulted with the family lawyer I met recently, and he gave me various advice. I think it's better to start discussions early, considering the situation if something happens to your mother too. Hearing Tom talk about my father's assets and hinting at my mother's passing infuriated me and brought back unpleasant memories. My father has a lawyer, a longtime friend. There's no need for your concern, but we need to be careful about money. It's important, right? That's why I trust the people who've been with us for a long time. You don't need to worry. Because of this dispute and Tom's insistence on my father's assets, I began to distance myself emotionally from him. A few months passed, and despite his valiant fight, my father passed away. As a result of discussions among family members, in accordance with my father's will, I inherited a mansion worth $4.5 million. However, Tom showed increasing interest in the inheritance despite my protests. He kept inquiring about the inheritance and its associated taxes. One day, Tom said excitedly, Emily, you inherited the mansion, right? That's amazing. When are we moving? Wait, how do you know? I asked, genuinely surprised. I heard the story when I met Emily's cousin at the funeral and happened to greet her the other day. Tom explained, please do not speak lightly of important matters. I replied, hurt by the cousin's careless words. Indeed, we inherited it, but we have no plans to move since it's too big for just the two of us. Why inherit it if you're not going to live there? It's a waste to leave it empty. Let's live in that mansion and have a happy life. Tom insisted. The whole family decided not to live there. Why did you decide that without consulting me, your husband? I don't understand. Despite explaining to Tom several times that the inheritance was not marital property, he did not understand. However, fulfilling my father's last wishes was my goal, and that was more important. Whether he felt I was not responding to his emotions, Tom began to show hostility towards me. After attending my father's funeral, Tom did not cooperate with any of the subsequent procedures. Even after the funeral, the bereaved family had a mountain of tasks to do, and every day was spent rushing to the next. I was also busy with the inheritance procedures, memorial services, and greeting my father's friends. After 1 month, then 2 months passed since the funeral. When I finally began to regain some calm, Tom said with a slight grin as I came home, "Emily, there's something important to talk about." Wondering what was going on, I listened as Tom suddenly began. "I changed the ownership of your family home to my name. Here are the legal documents as proof." Stunned, I couldn't comprehend what this meant. Marrying Emily was a mistake. I didn't notice it when we were dating. While your family is wealthy, I didn't realize you were so introverted, had few friends, and such low communication skills and income. I put up with it because you were diligent with the housework when we first married, but I can't stand being with you anymore. However, I'll hire you as a housemate. The pay will be low, but at least you can live in the house your father left you. What will it be? If you refuse, it's divorce. If you don't want to be a maid either, you have no choice but to leave." With harsh words thrown at me, I emotionally retaliated. "Don't say such unexpected things out of the blue. Change the ownership. You can't just do that on your own." I asked the judicial officer, Alex, to change it for me. Tom replied, "Fine, let's get divorced. You will be the one regretting it." After deciding to divorce and signing the papers, I packed my belongings and left the house. I told myself that my husband had changed due to the temptation of money. As I headed towards my parents' home, the next day, there was a call from Tom. "That house is mine. Give me the keys to your parents' house. Don't joke around. It's not your house. It's a precious family home inherited from my father," I replied, hanging up unilaterally. Although Tom was much gentler when we first met, he had changed as a person, succumbing to the temptation of money. I was once again reminded of the horrors of money. As I considered what to do next, suddenly a loud alarm sounded. It seemed that the home security system had been triggered. There was a loud banging on the front door. "Emily, are you there? Open up. This is my house. I've changed the ownership," Tom shouted while trying to forcefully open the front door. I continued to ignore him. Just when I thought it had become quiet, security guards arrived and apprehended Tom. I opened the front door and requested the security guard, "This person is an intruder. Please take him away. I'm the owner of this house. I showed you the document of name change yesterday. I had a judicial officer change it for me," Tom said, unperturbed by the security guards, with a triumphant expression on his face. "I understand. Wait a moment," I said and went back into the room to retrieve a document. Coming back, I handed Tom a copy of the real registry transcript. "Look at this. This house was inherited from my father. Of course, the inheritance registration has also been completed. This is a copy of the registry transcript as proof. Understand, the document of name change you are talking about is fake." Tom stood there speechless and stunned. "Listen carefully, Tom. Even a real judicial officer cannot change the ownership without the consent of the owner." Tom's face turned pale visibly. "I can't believe it. Alex said I'm a judicial officer, so it will cost money, but I handled the procedure for a friend and offered to help." "How did you meet him?" I asked. "When Alex found out that your father was wealthy, he approached me. He sincerely advised me on inheritance tax issues and estate distribution, so I trusted him. Since you inherited but said you would not live there, when I discussed it, he said the procedure would be cumbersome, but he could change it to our names, so I asked him to do it. I even paid him $330,000. Tom made a distorted face, trying to hold back tears as he spoke. Then slowly, he took out his smartphone from his pocket and began to call Alex repeatedly. "Alex, please pick up," he said, frustrated when it went to voicemail. Tom seemed unable to give up, keeping calling repeatedly. "No matter how many times I call, it's no use. You are so stupid. buying a meaningless piece of paper for $330,000. You should have researched how to register inheritance and the growing rates for expenses. Alex might be a scammer, according to rumors. He's approached others about money and con. Tom, now a broken person, approached me on a hot summer day during my father's first memorial service at our family temple. Despite his emaciated appearance, it was unmistakably him. I had heard from a friend that Tom had been leading a reckless life since our divorce. It turned out Tom couldn't give up on our relationship and wanted to start over. He had falsely reported to his boss at work, pretending to be out for work to spend hours searching for me. Eventually, his lies were discovered by the company, and despite warnings and demotions, Tom showed no signs of improvement and was finally fired. Over the next 3 months, Tom fell victim to various scams, seduced by promises of reconciliation and profitable deals. Concerned friends warned him, but he couldn't trust their opinions and ended up isolated and financially devastated. Standing before me at the memorial, Tom looked worn and inappropriate for the occasion, not conveying a sense of mourning. He wobbled on his feet and prostrated himself before me, apologizing loudly. "Emily, I'm sorry. It was all my fault," he pleaded, drawing the attention of the family members in attendance. "Tom, please stop. You're ruining my father's important Memorial Day. Just go home." Tried to talk calmly to Tom to keep my father's memorial peaceful, but he ignored my feelings and kept apologizing. "Emily, please forgive me. You're all I have. I deeply regret my actions." Tom cried loudly, breaking down in front of everyone. Relatives rushed over, concerned by Tom's distress. They asked what happened and who this man was. Their words tightened something in my chest, making me feel like my father's memorial was being ruined because of me. "Tom, enough is enough. Stop trampling on my feelings during my father's memorial service. Don't involve yourself in my life anymore," I said firmly. I called over a security guard and asked them to take Tom away, explaining that he was causing a disturbance. Even as he was being escorted away, Tom continued to call out to me desperately. I apologized to my relatives for the commotion and was able to conclude the memorial peacefully. Feeling terrified by Tom's actions, I visited the police station for advice. They said I could file a complaint if needed, so I did, just to be safe. Afterwards, I decided to move out of my parents' house to cut all ties with Tom. It was something I had been planning, and I found a new place smoothly since I had considered options already. A friend later told me that Tom often visited my family home, shedding tears when he saw the renovations. Tom, who had once dreamed of a life with me and becoming rich, lost his motivation when his dreams didn't come true. He lived his days quietly, watching TV one day when he saw a news segment about Alex, the judicial scribe who had deceived him, getting arrested for another fraud case. Tom started believing that those who do wrong should face consequences and began seriously looking for a job. Eventually, he found a fulfilling job. Later on, recalling my father's words to make our family home a memorable place by inviting various people, I decided to turn it into a rental villa. I discussed the idea with renovation experts early on, and the renovations went smoothly. Now, my mother and I run the renovated family home as a rental villa together. When Tom visited, he saw the transformed state of the home, already operating as a rental villa. It's in a great location with a spacious garden, loved by many guests and running smoothly. I have more opportunities to talk with my mother as we manage the business, and I feel happy knowing that this rental villa is fulfilling my father's dream. Dad, you'd be so happy to see your dream come true. I think every time a guest arrives, I'm grateful to be able to operate this rental villa that was my father's dream.